I came across a video the other day of a professor who used to be an atheist until he died and came back to life. And during the time that he was clinically dead, he claimed he met Jesus and that changed everything. Now, I know there's a lot of videos like this out on the web, some obviously more legit than others, but that's not the reason why I'm making this video. My point isn't to validate or invalidate his experience one way or the other. I'm making this video because there was a part in the video that made me think about how even if you don't believe that Christianity is true, you should still want it to be true. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if this is your first time here, hit that sub button and meme team. You guys ready? Then let's go! Now, before we go ahead and watch a couple of parts of the video, I just want to make something clear so that way we can just go ahead and get it out of the way. Simply wanting something to be true obviously doesn't make it true. I don't care if that something is the best story in the world. If it's not true, wanting it to be true doesn't make it any more true. For example, if there really is no God and there's no life after death, that's simply the way things are. And us wanting there to be a God or God to exist or wanting there to be life after death doesn't change that in the slightest. Even the Apostle Paul said something similar in the Bible when he said that if Jesus didn't really raise from the dead, then we really are without hope and we're to be pitied above all men. I don't see how you can read the New Testament without noticing how often the writers emphasize the necessity of believing things because they're true. Truth is highly valued in the Bible. But if you've been following this channel for a while, you already know that I strongly believe that Christianity is true and that we have good reasons and evidence to believe that it is. And I don't think that any other worldview makes nearly as much sense of the world than Christianity does. Now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and roll the clip.
So I called out into the darkness, Jesus, please save me.
Please, save me.
And he came. He came. First, there was a tiny little speck of light in the darkness, and it very rapidly got bright. And the light became so bright that if it were in this world, it would have consumed me. I just would have fried me to a crisp. But it wasn't at all hot or dangerous there. The light just came upon me, and he reached down. He was in this light, and he reached down out of this light and gently started to pick me up. And in his light, I could see that I was gore and filth and wounds all over. And I looked like roadkill. And he's gently putting his hands underneath me and very tenderly picking me up. And as he's touching me, everything just goes away. All the wounds, all the pain, all the dirt, it just kind of like evaporated away.
So I want to pause right there to explain something. What I love about this clip is how his experience gives a beautiful illustration of the significance of what Jesus did for us according to Christianity. In Christianity, God put on human flesh and came into our world and suffered and died for us so that way we could live. Jesus lived a perfect life and was without fault, and he offers the life that he lived as a sacrifice for us as a free gift that we can choose to accept or reject. If we do accept it, when we stand before God, God sees us as if we lived the life that Christ lived. It's the greatest conceivable gift that you could imagine. His clip also reminds us of how we got a glimpse of what eternity was like when Christ healed people. Those who trusted in him were healed, just as the man in the clip was healed. And spiritually, that's the same thing that happens to our souls. The light and purity of Christ is given to us, despite the reality of all of the things that we've done. His perfect righteousness is given to us if we trust in him for salvation, and our souls become pure and blameless as his is. Now let's go ahead and watch another clip, and then we can talk about why this is so significant.
It just kind of like evaporated away. And I'm like whole and healed. And inside, just filled with his love, which I wish I could be more articulate about. It's so frustrating not being able to tell people about it because, you know, it's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. I mean, it's the everything. You know, it's the all of life is to know that love. And, you know, I get to it and I just can't describe it. I can't convey it to you. And I thought to myself, he's made a mistake. I don't belong here. He doesn't want me. You know, it's like the shame. Like, how could he care about me? You know, why me? I'm bad. The whole purpose of my existence had been to love God, love my neighbor as myself. That's why I had been created. That's what I was in this world to.
A lot of us know what happens when you fall in love and you're loved back by someone. It's an incredible experience that floods you with joy, peace, generosity, makes you feel compelled to give the other person your all, and makes you want to praise and simply admire that person as much as you can. Take a second and think about that joy that you get from loving someone else and being in love. The only thing that dilutes or destroys that experience is broken or faulty love, the fear of being hurt, or the love coming to an end. But if Christianity is true, we'll experience that love in a perfect way, since God is not just the source of all love, but God is love. We were created to love God and to love others. And that's why we get so much happiness and joy when we do love God or when we do love others. The more that we love, the more that we live as we were created to live. The more that we function as we were created to function, the better we function. When we don't love, we don't live up to our optimal lives because we aren't doing what we were designed to do. It's like using a flip-flop for a hammer. If we don't love others, we aren't doing it right. If we think about it long enough, we realize that Christianity offers us the thing that we've all wanted deep down. Even if we don't recognize it, we all want the purest and the truest love to fill us, so that way we'll never be lacking or ever find ourselves in need ever again. And God isn't just love, God is also eternal. Since God's love is infinite, we will be eternally fulfilled, drinking from a faucet that will never run dry and never fails to satisfy. His love is perfect and undying, and it will never come to an end. We will be filled, and we will always be filled forever. But in his presence, there can't be any evil, since he is perfect. To be with him, we have to become like him, as blameless as he is. This is why he offers us the righteousness of Christ as a gift, so that way we can be pure in his presence and finally experience that undying and infinite love without any barriers. That perfect love that will never go away for all of eternity. But love also comes with the freedom to choose. He's given us the freedom to accept or reject his gift of an eternal relationship with him, the source of love. If you choose to accept it, you can have that eternal relationship with the one who's the source of the love that you've really always wanted deep down. Now, I want to reiterate this point because I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't think that anyone should believe things because they like them or they find deep meaning in them, or for wish fulfillment or anything like that. For me personally, if anything, my walk has been the opposite. I first came to believe in Christianity because I became convinced that it was intellectually true. And now I see far past that and realize that it doesn't just make sense of the intellectual stuff, but it also makes sense of the full human experience. Intellectual, emotional, communal, spiritual, and so on. All of us, everything that we are. Everyone's walks are different, but for me, the stuff that makes sense emotionally didn't come from me until the last few years of my life. So if you're a non-believer watching this and you don't believe that Christianity is true, of course, I hope that you do come to find that it is. But even if you don't believe that it's true, I hope that this video showed you at least in part why you should want it to be true. So the next time that you find yourself not realizing that Christianity makes sense of the entire human experience, what are you gonna say?
What do you mean?